Welcome to episode 1 of Sports and Discourse. I'm your host, Derek Stevenson, and today's special guest, Isaiah Champa Bay Barron. What's up, big dog?
Yo, what's up? What's going on, man?
Oh, nothing much, man. So, hey, man, before we get into the show, man, can you tell everybody how you became a Champa Bay Buccaneers fan?
Well, when I was a kid, I didn't really have a football team. You know, man, like I just wasn't into football like that much. But a lot of my family was Pittsburgh Steelers fans, so I just despised them just because. So I would root for whoever was going against them. But in 1995, Tampa Bay in the same draft, they drafted Derek Brooks and Warren Sapp, and it caught my attention. So I started watching the Bucks, and I became a fan in 1995, and have been a fan ever since. It's been an ugly journey. It's had its ups and its downs, but more downs than ups.
Hey, man, but
right now we're up.
Oh, yeah, y'all up, man. But, hey, where would you rank at defense, man? That's all time, man.
From our first Super Bowl?
Yeah, man. Is it all time top 3?
It's definitely a top 5 for sure.
Top 5 for sure.
I mean, if you say, you know, that Baltimore team, I think it was like 2000, the year 2000.
The one that carried Trent Dilfer.
Yeah. You got the 85 Bears.
Absolutely.
They were really good defensively. Yeah, the Bucks is right there, man. The Bucks is probably.
It sounds like you want to put them at 3, man. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, they're probably right there.
Hey, man, that's what's up.
But this past season's Tampa Bay team, man, that defense could end up being a top 5
Think
of all
so?
time.
If y'all run it back, man, you definitely gotta consider it, man.
Sure.
Is that what you going with, man? Y'all running it back, man?
We running it back.
Hey, man, y'all got the shot, man. I might have to jump on that bandwagon because I missed it last year, man. But I might have to jump on it this year, man.
I tried to tell you to jump on, man.
You did, man. You told me, man. But I got caught up in that Seahawks mess, man, and then they let me down, man. So I might have to jump over with y'all, get me a Tom Brady jersey and all that type of stuff.
Come on over, man. We'll accept you.
Hey, that's what's up, man. Well, anyways, man, the reason why I was calling you is because I want to get to the topic of the show. And what I want to ask you is social media ruining sports?
I say yes and no. The reason I say yes is because you get a lot of these athletes now when they're on social media. A lot of times they say the wrong things, and that gets them in trouble, or they pay too much attention to social media and not focus on the actual game or the actual sport that they play. You know, you look in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh started off 11-0 last season, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they had the TikTok boys. So in the locker room,
they was going crazy with the TikTok.
You got all your receivers in the locker room doing all these TikTok videos and stuff instead of focusing on the game, and then you see the outcome that came from it. And then you look at basketball and you look at like Kevin Durant, like he's always into some kind of Twitter match with somebody, or making fake accounts and stuff. Like it's bad.
Do you think let's talk about Kevin Durant for a second. Do you think that social media has been like such a like negative environment for him that now it's almost kind of like he hates all media?
Yeah, I do.
Because I don't know if you paid attention, but in one of the playoff games this season, he had because he was coming off of his injury, and one of the sideline reporters was interviewing him after he went crazy in one of the games, and he was trying to pay Kevin Durant a compliment. He was kind of saying something along the lines of like, basically saying like, man, I mean, I know you Kevin Durant, but man, how shocked are you that you played this well? And I think he was really trying to compliment KD, but KD is so defensive now that like he made some real snarky remark back, and I was like, man, like he has such a like bad rapport with the media now that he don't even know when they like trying to be nice and play well with him, to the point where like he'd rather do an interview with Draymond Green than actually sit down with a credible reporter at this point.
Yeah, it it's really got to him. It showed like years ago, man, when he would argue back and forth with you know no name Joes just from anywhere, and it was just bad. But now the good part about social media and sports is you get people who actually can get seen. Uh, that normally wouldn't. Like you look at our city in Lexington, Kentucky. I know coming up, we didn't have a lot of coaches in high school and stuff who put out film of the players that were on the teams, who was sending film to schools and all of that. Now with social media, you know, you can post something and it can go viral and it shows your skill set. So people are paying attention to you. I can't think of this young guy's name, but he's a high school basketball player who has one arm.
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about, but I can't think of his name either.
With social media, and it be videos of him being shared everywhere.
He's a legend.
Some colleges actually started going and actually checking him out, and now he has a offer, a full ride offer to play college basketball. And it's like, would that have been done if there was no social media?
Yeah, I think if they even heard about him, they probably take it as a joke, man. But he got some game for real, though.
I didn't think people would even actually go look at him once they heard he only has one arm playing basketball. But with social media, when these people hear his name, they can see they can see footage right then, and that makes them say, okay, well, we can go check this guy out and see what he has in person, because something from social media actually made them want to go do it.
Right. I feel like I got into that really heavily whenever we first got John Calipari. That's when I really was like going through social media like crazy, looking at all the players that's coming in and all of that, because I feel like before that, when social media really wasn't heavy like that, like I really didn't know nothing about the players until they showed up for Blue Madness for real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And now I even follow some of them kids after they leave Kentucky, and not just the like ones that become superstars like AD, but I follow all the other ones that might not even be quite as successful, but I still keep up with them. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, social media. It's been good for sports and it's been bad. The more of the bad is people focus on it way too much.
Yeah.
But the good is it lets way more people see you and know who you are.
Speaking of the bad, though, right after we mentioned the Kentucky boys, PJ Washington, though, man, like, is that kind of a situation where like we got too much access to the point where like we really in this man's business with like his wife and his child situation and how much money he's paying her? Like, do we got too much access to players sometimes?
I wouldn't say we have too much access, because these people put their business out.
Yeah, it is true. Yeah, they definitely put it out.
You put your own business out, then you want it to be seen. There's some people who don't put none of their business out. Like look at J. Cole. J. Cole, like, nobody up until just a few years ago, nobody knew what his wife looked like.
Yeah, I still don't know what she looked like.
Yeah, so you know he
I don't even know if I even knew he was married, to be honest with you.
oh yeah, he posted something, but he keeps all of that private. He keeps his private life private. Like he doesn't talk about it. He doesn't post it. He just does his music and he has his family. But you know, so if you put it out there, people are gonna see it, and you want people to see it if you're putting it out there. If you don't put it out there, people wouldn't know. People have no clue what's going on until you put it out there or someone close to you puts something out there.
Right. So a little bit earlier, you had mentioned like the Steelers with all the wide receiver core, and they was going crazy with the TikToks and all that. Do you think that social media makes a whole lot of these players focus on the lifestyle and presenting the lifestyle more than actually? Do you think they enjoy the lifestyle and being seen more than they actually enjoy the game? Some of them, because when I
Of
say
course,
that, a person that comes to mind is Ben Simmons.
yeah, for sure. Ben Simmons, Juju Smith Schuster, um, what's your name found out Antonio Brown for a while was more about the lifestyle than he was about the game. And, you know, he almost lost his whole career for it.
Yeah, he did, man.
You know, luckily he had somebody like Tom Brady who would take him under his wing and talk an organization into giving this man another chance. Uh, and now you see, like, he loved, now it's more for the love of the game. You know, he's you don't hear about him, you don't see him all over social media anymore. So,
That's
but
true, man. He
it,
been real
it
quiet lately.
it really messes up some of these players. They, like I said, it's more about to them and instead of winning games, it's more about how many retweets you can get or how many likes you can get on Instagram or you know how many people will duet your TikTok or you know
Yeah.
those things.
Speaking of that, do you think that somebody like LeBron James deserves a little bit of a pass for coming up in the era where he basically has everybody critiquing every part of his life? Like when we compare him to Michael Jordan, right? Or even like some of the other great athletes that started a career in the 90s, like Tiger Woods, like they kind of like was able to focus on sports and then get away from sports, and we could never find them. Like Michael Jordan was golfing and or in Vegas, and unless you was right there with him to see him in person, you had to wait for like Ahmad Rashad to give you a little, something going on with an interview, but you never really seen him outside of just watching him hoop. And like
Mm.
Tiger Woods, I was watching a documentary one time, and I think it was on HBO, and this girl that he was real cool with in college, she was talking about how whenever he wasn't golfing, he would just go scuba diving. And she would be like, "Why you scuba diving for?" And he would be like, "Because I can," basically saying like I can just be left alone and focus. And those are two players that we consider like super mentally tough athletes. Do you think that they would have been as successful as they were if they would have started a career in like say 2015?
I mean, you can't say that they wouldn't be successful, but they would have had a lot more to deal with because you know, like Michael Jordan, he was a hothead. So with social media and everybody in your business and everybody having something to say and all that, like who knows how he would have took it. I mean, the Jordan that I seen, he would have probably took it as fuel to the fire, and it probably would have just made him play better. You know, he probably would have won more championships. But who knows? Like some people mentally can't handle certain things, and that
Yeah.
breakdown
But what if
could
what if
really get.
but like how certain things was coming out in the last dance? What do you think would have happened if that stuff would have been coming out in real time, like with him like, punching Steve Kerr and calling Scotty Burrell a hoe every time he turned around? Like you think he would have became unlikable and he would have as many haters like the way LeBron James does now?
Definitely. And if that was happening right now and he did those things and he's calling Scott Burrell a hoe and all that, cancel culture would have ate him up.
They got him out of there.
Ah, man, they would have been on his head. Te- Chicago probably would have had to release him or trade him or something just
Could you
because,
imagine that? Michael Jordan getting released from the Bulls?
man. But, that was just a different era, man. Like, this era, man, I call it the sensitive era. Like, everybody takes everything so personal, and whatever you say, someone can take it out of content. And uh, it's just bad now, in my opinion. But
Well, when you say that this era is sensitive, right? Like, I agree with you, but do you think that the fans go way too far? Like, do you think there's a point where it's like, all right, man, like that's too far? Or do you think, they public figures and they got to take the good with the bad?
I think people take it way too. I think some people take it way too far with some of the comments they say. Like, just because you don't like a basketball player because you just don't like them or you don't like the team that they play for, like it should never get personal to where you make personal attacks and you talk about their kids or their wives or their husbands or families or anything in their personal life. Like when you start attacking people personally, that's going way too far. Now, critiquing, like, look at LeBron James. If you critique his basketball game and you you have your opinion on his basketball game or whatever, you know, you're free to say whatever you want. But some people just say, I believe some people just take it way too far.
Yeah, see, like earlier generations or different eras, it was kind of like say you was a New York Knicks fan, right? So
Uh huh.
you hated Michael Jordan. So when he comes to the Garden, you might see him and you can shout out something like Jordan, you suck or whatever. And then he goes on about his business. You go on about your business. You never can contact him again. But in
Yeah.
today's era, he might go after the game, open his phone, and have 1,000 DMs from Knicks fans.
Yeah.
And I know
More than more than 1,000.
yeah, he probably had way more than that, right? Um
Yeah.
and I know like a whole lot of people don't really care for Skip Bayless, but one thing that he said when he was talking to Stephen A when they first started doing their show together, and I had to admit, I was like, man, that's some really good advice, but it's really hard to follow. Was he told him just don't read the comments, man. And
Yeah.
and I definitely think like if I was a star athlete, I'd probably just have to stop myself. But that's really hard to do, man. Like it's really hard to just not look and see what people are saying. And I think that might have a little bit to like play a part in some of these athletes having more failures than they probably would. Like I think some of the ones that have a chance to be super great, like KD, LeBron, those type of dudes, I think sometimes that plays on them probably way more than it should because they just can't help but to read all the stuff and see what everybody's saying. Just like you remember when KD came out with the shoes and had all the little quotes up underneath the shoe on the sole.
Yeah.
So it's like, man, like I couldn't imagine just everybody being at your neck all the time, man.
I mean, now if you take some of the stuff and you just use it as fuel, something to get you amped up and get you ready and make you play harder or whatever, okay. But if you really let that stuff get to you mentally, to where it's bothering you or you upset by it, then that's a problem.
Right. So
And
you
that's when someone in the camp needs to be like, hey, maybe we should deactivate this page for a while and focus on real life stuff or
do
you
you
know
do you feel like athletes should hire like mental health specialists or life coaches? Like you remember when PG was saying that like when he was in the bubble, like he was having a whole lot of mental issues and things of that nature. Like, do you think that that should be like how like the top athletes got the chefs and they got the the trainers and they got the stylists, and like, should that be a part of the like equation too, to building a superstar athlete? Should you have like a mental health specialist on your team?
Man, I don't think it should be. I think that the NBA, the NFL, Major League, hockey, all sports, college sports, high school sports, that it should be mandatory that each person talks with some kind of mental health therapist and stuff. Not even just in sports. I think people in general, everyone should uh, go sit down and talk to someone.
Right. I agree.
Like it's good. It's good for you. Like I used to go once a week and talk to somebody, and I wasn't even going through any issues. It was just somebody to talk to, get things off my chest, and I would always walk out feeling a whole lot better.
Oh, that's what's up right there, man. I think a whole lot of people are just afraid that people will look at them funny, like they can't handle their life situations and stuff. And I think that's what turns a lot of people off. But I agree with you that I think probably everybody should do that, man. Just to be honest.
Yeah, people worry too much about what other people think of them, and instead of just worrying about what you think of yourself.
Yeah, like I'll give you an example of where I feel like social media got to somebody, and that was Sha'Carri Richards, right? Like I believe that she just has like an outgoing personality and she's kind of wild and reckless, but I feel like she was reading so much social media and buying into the hype that after she lost, she just started going a little left with that post race interview. You know what I mean? And I feel like if she would have probably had been talking to somebody in that time, she might have been a little bit more prepared to like accept what happened and be confident enough to just give a simple answer like, you know, I was just off my game today and I'll be back. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Because I mean, social media was on her head after she lost, man. And I
You
mean,
got to think. You got to think, man. Look, if when you look at sports back in the day, you know, most people wasn't coming straight out of high school or just a year or so in high. Most of them was playing like all 4 years of college.
right.
You know, you had a few that only played a couple of years. You know, 2 or 3 years, but most people were playing 4 years.
Yeah, so they were a lot more mature, right?
Yeah, and they were when they came in, they were making big money, but it wasn't as big as money as it is today.
Yeah, money's
Now
out of control now.
you look at people today, you have 18, 19, 20-year olds going into these leagues and making millions, like many millions of dollars.
Immediately.
Yeah, immediately. And they're still young. They're still young minded. Like, so that if you don't have the right kind of people around you to guide you, to you got to have older people around you to guide you and help you stay on a straight path, because if not, what ends up happening to a lot of these players, they end up trying to live the lifestyle, so they buying up a bunch of jewelry, they buying you know a home that has 20 bedrooms when it's only you and your wife and one kid, and you buying all these foreign vehicles, and trying to live a lifestyle, and to be flashy for social media.
Absolutely.
And then they end up going broke.
Yep. It's a
When it comes
shame, man.
to
It
it, your
happens all the
career's
time.
over. When your career's over and you don't have this money coming in, and you done spent so much money on these things, and then or you maybe you didn't buy out all these cars, straight out with cash or nothing. Maybe you had been leasing a bunch of them, and you're still paying on them, or like people just waste their money.
Right. Man, it's crazy because I had watched a program and they were talking to Dwayne Wade. And he probably made a couple $100 million in his career, because I know at least I think he came off of his rookie contract, which he probably made about 15 to 20 off at. Then I think he signed for like 80 something off of that. So he's at 100 without endorsement. Then he signed like another 100 million, and then he made a couple more. So he might have possibly made anywhere between 250 to 300 million, right?
Yeah.
And I remember they were asking him like, so now that you retired, how are you going to maintain your lifestyle? And he said when he went and talked to all of his financial people, his financial management team or whatever, they told him the first thing we got to do, they said, keep one vehicle. Because he had about like 14. And I was like, damn, they asking a dude that made 300 million to get rid of all his cars. I'm like, that's what it takes to maintain the type of lifestyle that he got. You got to downsize that much, and that's a dude that done made almost $500 million. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
if he has to downscale that much, man, a lot of these other players, man, they really need to start planning for the future a whole lot better. You know what I mean?
Hey, if he had to downsize that much, then I'm gonna have to just give me a bicycle,
Man, or a skateboard.
man, or just my 2 feet and foot it.
Hey, I'm trying to tell you, man. That's nuts, man. But yeah, man, a lot of them dudes, like you said, man, they just show off of social media. It's constantly they buying this, they buying that, and these dudes ain't really even got it like that. But that's all they care about, man. And I mean, like I ain't gonna lie, everybody does it a little bit. Like everybody shows off a little bit here and there. But I think it does like hurt them a whole lot because it makes them worry about a perception more than it actually does being great at the sport, man. And a lot of them are, I feel like they develop that type of mentality, not to like bad mouth Dwight Howard, but he was like one of the first ones that I seen where of the era of the kids that kind of didn't really care as long as they was rich. You know what I mean? Like he was one of the first dudes that I heard be like, man, the average NBA career is only 4 years. I done played 10. I got millions of dollars. I'm a champion at life. And then I was like, yeah, but like all of that's cool, but we want to see you win though. But that was like the first era of the kids that just didn't really care, man. And then next one I seen was like DeAndre Jordan. And then it gets to a point now where I feel like a whole lot of them don't really care if they win. Like they just like being rich. It's almost like it's just a job. You know what I mean? Like I'm good at sports, so I play it, make a lot of money, and I enjoy my life a whole lot more than I enjoy winning at sports.
Yeah, some people don't even enjoy playing.
Right. Probably don't. Like I'll tell you a
They just
dude
play because they're
that I
good at
feel
they
like
good
right,
at it. So
right.
they, they were when they were kids, they were good at it. So they just kept playing because their parents or coaches and everybody was telling them, "Just you're good, you're this good." And then they, you know, get a full ride to college, and they go to college, and they're still really good, and all the people's hyping them up, and they're being talked about all the time, and they still don't like playing. And then they go to the league and they make money, and they just doing it for the check, and they still don't love the game.
Man, I'll tell you a dude, and I don't want to say it because I don't know if he loves the game or not, but I'll tell you a dude that really like comes to my mind is that as soon as you say stuff like that, and it's Michael Beasley. Because I feel like Michael Beasley's super talented, but I feel like he just don't really care like that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like I think it's just a job to him. Like he play because he can. He get a little bit of money. He cool. If he had to go to China to get the money, he'll go over there, play for a little bit, come back, play for a little bit. Then he just kind of free floats, man. I think basketball's cool, but I don't think he love it no more. If you
Yeah, I think Ben Simmons is the same way.
Oh, absolutely, man. Like I think he's been so good for so long, and even when he was at LSU, you could just kind of see that like he was kind of just cruising on his talent, but his work ethic was kind of lacking, man. Like he kind of just it was kind of like you know, he was bored, it seemed like, and he was just like, man, I'm just going to the pros, man. I don't care what happens in college, you know what I mean? But
Mm.
it's kind of like it's followed him through it, and it seems like, you know, he's popping up at the tennis matches, he's doing this and doing that, like he wants to be out in California just because that California's lit, you know what I mean? Like it's like I don't think he cares as long as he gets to California, he'd be happy, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, hey man, I think we're gonna go on and wrap this up, man. I appreciate you calling in and talking with me, brother. We'll have to do it again, but before I let you go, man, you got any shout outs or plugs you wanna make?
Oh yeah, for sure. Um, Everyone, make sure you go to YouTube, type in KY Beyond the Game, subscribe to the channel, and please check out my show, mine and Chris Jones. We have a show called Spoken Minds. It's a sports and entertainment show.
Yes, sir.
Please go check it out. Like, share, comment. But KY, like I said, YouTube KY Beyond the Game.
Right. And go to the Facebook group too and join that for sure if you ain't already in that.
Oh yeah, Beyond the Game group on Facebook. Make sure you go join and talk sports with all of us.
Yes, sir. And you can download it on Roku and Fire Stick too, right?
Yes, sir. You definitely can.
Absolutely, man. That's what's up, man. Well, yeah, man, I appreciate it, man. We'll have to do it again sometime, all right?
I appreciate you letting me be a part of the show, man. Thank you very much. It was good talking with you.
Yes, sir, man. Take it easy, brother.
All right, brother.
Yes, sir.